Pia Ejibes about 60 million a month with allowances. With the canning in a boom say the whole Ghana ministries open you in the dodo.
Said that now, okay.
None of me kind.
So it's 40 crowds.
No 40. Just about 32 or 34.
Now,
you make me a body in natural. Yes, started from Minister of Defense, Minister of Interior, local government, Minister of Health, Minister of Labour and Social Welfare, Minister of Industries, Western Housing, Minister of Education, Minister of Information, Minister of Trade and Industries, Foreign Affairs, Minister of Sport. Before Kurana, Minister of Sports of Kurampono, now another ministry. A champion they be few. One I'm trying. Nina and Minister of Agric, Minister of Interior, and more coming because member Prime Ministers for over more than 5 years. Office BN1 minimum.
Yeah.
Oh, and you know, ministers is just about 34. I didn't obey ministers. I 100 and something, 101. So 101. Mukop cabinet meeting of a Janfana Watana. Let the meeting was sports stadium. So what I say, but one thing is say, what I say, no, 100 years you, but Nanka, 1 year Juma, 1 year Yaka, no 1 year Juma. Baby, 2 million for a month. One I make it, one farm support for a month. Says the kind of Quran, and do more than 100 million for the whole country. Say population pie, offense, say, 30 million, or say 30 million. Not you whole Ghana. 1 year Juma will be one semono. A year we offense say 10 million, 20 million a year poor. It chat offense say 20 million I can. Umo be 3 million a month. The whole month and the 2 minutes pay meboa.
Yeah.
And what could you need? And in any time, piano, a formula dear, DNA heading, and you talk to the formula heading. Oh, I had the same problem, but because of woman, we be a crentino. No, I'm system.
Right.
One I mentioned, and it's again I am to yet with Anyan, yes, I didn't be dear. Miss say. Otu patromu na to offer say Facebook ni perf there YouTube ni the minimum na o wasi dey be ono on first hand 2 million naira come ano e dey ayede e dey kwa hwe offer YouTube ni the minimum we yimu oba ko ton bank ni ko bi da ba be wufu e
okay
enu ya ni oh but what the one yen sa oni hwe o yare nso ya sebe obekọ hospital kurampo e ye din She open your mamaka upa and nene. But what damn for power in the school of Ghana? Could sit dying. That's about 2.3 billion, 4-bedroom flat. Na fat chen say J. When my small bacachero, Yamishira. Na Yamishira on a yenu kumem. A cardia back, on my dear kind. 1 maniska. Woman is a car. Now one man dying. I didn't offend it. As a menisika. So you fanko tedi endi. O you abaka so anka oda na we ti memra na memehwe so ma wana. Let's open be atana. And it is the system se sika kan ya brabo to Ghana anya adwuma. Nanka police ni contable 10 million a month. Na ni nua contable e di offense sika e ko ba bi would van here. No one sa attack no akuku na jisika no. Ebine no. Na je 10 million no kura nso no.
Yeah.
Ne kura pa na mka kire wo.
10 million nso no.
Enso no. 10 million nso no. Enti akwan ben ne ebeye. Wona na ye kan woni nyina kire with my advice wo be kuro we mu.
Beba. Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning, doctor. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And how are you?
I'm fantastic, thank you very much.
You're live on air, please. You want to start off with
Sorry
this?
I joined you a bit late today. Good morning.
No, that's fine. You're live on air. Unfortunately, there's nobody on at the moment, so you can start off with this.
Can you hear me okay?
You're live on air.
Okay. Good morning to all the listeners. Good morning.
Thank you.
Fellow Ghanaians. and good morning to all the panelists.
Thank you. Yeah, go on, sir.
Where are you? Are you on the Russian sanctions, or are you with the Boko Haram? Or
so any of the three, you want to talk about the Boko Haram, you want to talk about the Russian issue, you want to talk about, how do you call it, the parliament, the voting, the deputies voting?
I mean, my understanding of this Russian sanctions, I think all of this could have been averted. I think there has been a lot of miscalculation, and the posturing is what has led to this catastrophe that we find ourselves in now. We are in a situation that everybody is paying the price. I mean, those that live here, in a couple of weeks, everybody is seeing the surge in prices. Supply lines have been interfered with. Fuel prices gone high up. So the impact analysis does not seem to have been done. It seems as if all these things were shouted out before thought has been given to how our daily lives are going to be affected. If not, then it opens doors for conspiracy theories to start looking at how maybe others might have known about this and somebody might be secretly benefiting from it. With regards to Speaker Bagbin,
yes,
he's a man that I actually respect. I mean, for his work he's done in terms of service that he has done. I really appreciate how he uses the law. I am of the view that he has done the right thing. Maybe he has left it too late. I feel that there are things that had been going on prior to this debacle that he was too diplomatic about, which has given reason for the consistent prodding and prodding and prodding. Now, I say this because initially, when the parliament started, I was of the view that the standing orders needed to be rewritten at that time to encompass the hung parliament and the functionality. I feel he's done the right thing at this time. I feel he did not do the right thing when he labeled one side the majority group, because I think it brought a lot of confusion, instead of letting everybody know their place and then starting work on the orders to give maybe a different definition, or completely put in play how the new work was supposed to be done without that feeling of superiority that others have assumed now to the problem that we are facing now. Because there has been constant disrespect and constant attempts to test the balance. We all are aware that this Supreme Court ruling raises a lot of questions. I mean, in law, usually subordinates don't like, or junior lawyers or junior legal minds do not like to always call out what the senior lawyers do for precedent. But this has not sat well with any level-headed person. I do pray that Parliament will do the right thing and do the needful and use all legal means to put this thing right. Saying that now, with the Supreme Court ruling, the joke to all of this, as per my understanding, is that before anything that they have said takes effect now, it is the same Parliament that has to sit to fashion out how it's going to progress. That's why I was of the position that the ruling should have just been reverted back to Parliament as it were, instead of posturing and throwing confusion into the general public, where people do not understand or get a wrong impression that this is how things are going to be.
Okay, stay on the line. I'm going to read something. I'm probably in a contrary to this. I don't know how
Okay.
you would analyze this, but say Gabo, whether counterattack this or you might see it as something as a different opinion. Look at what he said. He said, now, where is it? It said, Bagbin, the Speaker of Parliament, advised to the MPs to go to court over the first Deputy Speaker's ruling as a perfect one. Oh no, was yesterday. Let me read today's. Okay, this is the same today. It said, Bagbin, the Speaker of Parliament, advised to the MPs to go to court over the first Deputy Speaker's ruling as a perfect one. Whatever our grievances are, we must always resort to the due process. This forms part of the democratic architecture we have imposed upon ourselves since 1992. The practice like this deepens democratic process. Okay, so he continues to say that. Now, listening to the recorded version of yesterday's program, I observed that everyone who spoke on the Supreme Court's ruling on the first Deputy Speaker's ability to vote blamed the 7 judges. They demolished the ruling because none of them dissented. Now, my goodness, are they saying that there is nothing like a unanimous decision in judicial ruling? Certainly there is. We have the verdict of unanimous decision in boxing and in football too. There's always one truth in any issue. One baffles me. What baffles me is that none of the callers who was bold to say that the fact that all the 7 judges spoke in a unison voice means the interpretation and the ruling was simply clear and straightforward. Now, why should a judge dissent when the fact that the law is clear in front of him or her? Now, he continues to say that the fact that there has been a long-standing practice of the system in itself does not make it right. There's a new democratic dispensation, so an old parliamentary standing order practice can be quashed by the Supreme Court. This is written by Gabu. You must have what you might have recalled yesterday, the discussion we had. Now, after listening to it, this is his reaction towards it. You think he's right?
I am sad when I think people make an attempt to bring what I deem to be a serious conversation into, realms that I feel become a joke.
Oh, you think this is a joke?
I feel trying to play down the situation and try to use words to bamboozle people becomes the joke. Because if we are saying, just to assume that the Supreme Court judges were right about this, when did they realize it?
Well,
when did they realize that there was a flaw in the Constitution?
Okay, well, I can't tell when they realized this, but...
That's what I'm saying. It's so obvious what has been done, and that Constitution, it is what establishes or validates even the existence of the Supreme Court itself. If you come in an office and you see something that is wrong, the first thing any professional would do would have been to lay down procedures or attempt to start addressing that if you are the right person. And constitutional reviews or changes do not come just by simply trying to issue a ruling overnight and then get things to start jumping all over the place. It doesn't work like that. Though the lawyers are fully aware. Now, after every ruling, the norm is that all the sitting judges will give statements outlining their reasons for how they came to their decision. In this unanimous decisions we have been saying, none of that has happened. The reasons why you arrive at a certain position might not necessarily have to be the same. It is the justice that is not being seen to be done that raises the questions. And every question that everybody has been asking from different sides, those are asking questions based on existing standing orders and the Constitution. The standing orders were carved out of this Constitution that we have. So there is no discrepancy between the two, to my knowledge, where, there is any reason for anyone to dissent from that. Now, with what has been done, how is it meant to be implemented without the cooperation? Alban Bagbin, the gentleman that he is and the lawmaker, is trying his best, I think, to make sure that things are done the right way. Would this bring progress? This ruling that has been done, does anyone see the way out? Knowing what is already being in play, how do we move forward from here? Because we know the separation of powers, we know the independence of parliament in doing their work. How are the Supreme Court judges helping our situation? It is these actions that are deemed towards or leave the impression, obvious as it is, that it is for a reason, which makes people throw out statements that they are almost acting as if they are a party office annex.
I was actually coming to that. I was coming to whether the report down was as a result of influence from the partisan grounds in that, because it is
shameful when we have to refer to that in law. I would prefer or hope that we'll be able to speak about the judiciary without even inferring bias. But it is the action.
Yeah, but let me ask you. Yesterday we were talking about you took, I don't know whether it's myself or we both took ourselves to the last election we had. I'm pretty sure that if you're on the other corner or you're on the other side and not NPP, NDC communicationist or something, I'm sure you would have been okay with the verdict of the election.
No.
Are you saying from the? Are you saying this?
You can quote me on this.
No. Are you saying this from the bottom of your heart? That
I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart. And if you remember yesterday, I made reference to procedures that were abrogated. That was the indication from the very beginning of the bias. And what is sad is that in the court of law, people that maybe have no, for lack of a better word to say, any legal understanding, find it difficult to follow proceedings. So they go with the headlines and then the final judgment. From the very beginning, where the interlocutors were thrown out, anybody that read those 12 questions would have known there was a leaning or there was a bias. The questions were thrown out or deferred on the basis that when Jean Adukwe-Mensah took the stand, they would address those questions. That, from the very beginning, was a weird position to take, because if the interlocutors were answered, what it would have done would have defined how the case would have run, and could have even could have shortened the time span of the case, since the bench made they made it their focus that they wanted to run it in a timely manner. That was one of their things, the statements they put out, that they did not want to waste any time. As a judge, you are not meant to be seen to be rushing to get anywhere. You're meant to be seen to be doing the right thing. Because injustice, leaning on anybody, it's not fair.
Okay, let me read something else to you. This is coming from Uncle Kwesi, small Uncle family. He said, Dr. Morton, this issue of 1992 Constitution review is critical for the state, and the issue surrounding politicians destroying state institutions through appointments is dragging the nation and the people down. The institutions like the justice system, police, and the state's security is the backbone of any states around the world. Now, fairness and independent is the game, Doc. Our system is broken, and the politicians are having a field day, Doc. Ghana is becoming dragged down through politics. Asemitika. This is from Uncle Kwesi, a regular caller, who this is how he sees institutions to be broken down. What about that? Is it true, or you agree with him?
Okay. So I feel, and this is an appeal to all the discerning Ghanaians currently on the MPP side, to differentiate between governance and campaigning.
Between what? Between what?
Governance and campaigning for elections.
Oh, but they vast difference. It doesn't even a thin line between the two. It's quite a different word and its definition. What do you mean?
If you let me land, please, maybe I'll make a sense. It seems as if there is a part of the population now that backs everything only based on the fact that it is coming from the party, and they cannot afford, or they do not want to see any criticism. In that they would boldly defend, and then in private conversations they will say things like, "Oh, so why wouldn't you say?" And we'll say, "You know, it is not right. Wrong is wrong, and right is right." When you see something happen,
let me give you a very good example.
In the legal space.
Let me give you a good example. It's like meeting a police officer, and he stops you by the way. Now, what she'll be and then he goes, Masa, this is a police officer who says, Masa,
or a police officer.
Let me Okutaka going somewhere. Sorry to put it this way. And then he goes, Masa, Umabi Didi. What's he say? You're a driver, you understand? Say, I didn't know yet, but Nipano, you compromise the police officer and say, okay, and then we blame the police officer for bribery.
So bribe.
You see,
well,
every man or woman has to have their own set of principles they live by. I, on this radio, I have been driving, or I've had my driver's license since 1995. I can boldly say I do not pay police on the road. I don't even give 1 cedi just because you have stopped me. I have given money to police officers that are regulars on my street as gifts. But there is no time that you will stop my car and you will find any fault. And because you have stopped me, I am giving you money so that I'll be able to get away. It doesn't happen. I've seen police officers that have, give me something for water. I always carry a case of water in my car. I open my car and I give you water. It's you now, the mommy. I say, you asked me for water. You know, we should attempt to do the right thing and then make that work. Why are you giving the money to the police officer if you have made sure your license is in order, your car papers are in order? Because you're not meant to be on the road and endanger anybody. The precedence you set becomes hypocritical stance once you speak against it and you do the contrary. You are speaking against something, you should be practicing that. The thing that you speak against, you should make sure that your position and your movement reflect your position. That is what I call integrity.
All right. So, Felix, I say Felix, sorry, Mr. Tekwe.
Yeah.
What we're looking at is where the law, we all fall short or fumble against the laid down constitution about the bribe offer of coming from a well-known citizen who knows the consequences of the full rigor of the law. But unfortunately, it's always been the case of the person receiving at the arm's length who offered the bribery as well. Couldn't we have had any laws against such? People get away with things like this.
But let me be on the question.
Okay, go.
What's your name, please? His name is. Please, can you explain bribe and bribe? What is bribe as a police officer, or what is the gift as a police? Can you give the difference between bribe and gift?
It's a tip. Maybe it's a tip.
Yeah, tip. Yeah.
Are you there, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, go on. Did you hear what he asked you?
Oh no, I didn't realize he was.
Okay, but that's it.
You should explain what is bribe and what is tip.
Bribery and tip. I mean,
these two different things. It's not kind of the same charge.
Somebody tipping a police officer for
and somebody is bribing
for a good job done, or maybe if not to get away with something that is not acceptable.
Or maybe a policeman might be on the road. You see, good job. And maybe somebody have bought a food for that person. Maybe she cannot buy a food for that person because you don't know what is the content in the food. So I've given money to buy food. Is it?
I think he's asking you that if for some reason you haven't offended the law and then you decide to give a police officer something for standing in the scorching sun to say thank you for the good job done, I think that is different. But what to put it in a proper context, whether or not you're right or not, or let's say something that the law frowns upon, and then you offer a police officer to be able to get away with it. He's trying to find the difference between a tip and the bribery.
Okay, so bribery will be what you would offer in an attempt to influence a decision. That's bribery in my eyes. Something
that bribery.
Yeah.
Which when the person have committed offense and is bribing you to away from that offense, that bribe. But when somebody is tipping you, is it a bribe?
I can only hear shouting. I cannot make out what he's saying. I can make out some shout. I cannot hear what he's saying.
Take or say to what?
Okay, I said if somebody committed offense and that person have committed offense, giving you money, that's bribe. But if a policeman is doing a good job on the road and somebody tip him, is he a bribe? If the person haven't committed an offense, is passed to police, take 1 CD, is he a bribe?
Of course, that's not bribe.
So, if you listen to my definition, that's what I said, that the bribe is given to influence a decision.
Yeah, what he's trying to say is the bribe given to somebody to influence a decision is something that the person admits that he or she is wrong, but then gives that money to make it look like being swept under the carpet. That's what he's trying to say. He said, only scanty or person the Janintino or fee and bra what on hunting anyway.
I need to be a bribe. Now the panels and only any offense be no one say from his heart. You are doing a good job. Have 1 CD. That tip.
Oh, that's an appreciation, Keke said. It's an appreciation, sir.
Yes.
You appreciate the good job.
Yes. Is it just contributing or?
I think you asked a question. He only asked a question. You can go on.
Yeah, because I think we're saying the same thing in the terms of the bribe.
Well, I think so too. Anyway,
there is no decision to be influenced, or you're not seeking anything. It can't be seen. I live opposite a police station, or adjacent to a police station, and I have, called on the police when I've tried to do like neighborhood cleanup and all of that. And some of them refused to do it. Some of them maybe had a problem with me trying to organize that and get them involved in it. Whereas we have gutters that run in the whole area that they also help to choke. I've had to go to stations. So that's what I meant by when you think that you believe in a certain set of principles, you must be acting on it. I get stopped on the road. If something about my paper, I go to the police station. I will go to court and follow the whole situation through. And I've done that numerous times. I use myself as an example. I do not pay bribes to any police in Ghana.
Oh, okay.
So I advocate for that let the law run. I've gone to court, alleged traffic offenses, and won each time. I'll give an example. While I was taking my mom, I was driving a DV car. My mom was lying prostrate in my car. And I had my mom and my sister. A policeman stopped with my hazard on, stopped me right almost outside the hospital, and I explained to him the situation. This policeman, even when he could see my mom lying in the car, was trying to tell me that because the DV car, you were only allowed 2 people, he had to take the car. Exactly. And so I gave him my driver's license, I gave him the logbook for the car, and he took that and walked off, hoping that I will get down and chase him and come and pay him something. I refused to do that. I drove on to the hospital, put my mom, got her checked in. While she was being attended to, I came back and I got processed and I went to court. Represented myself, and the judge threw the case out. The policeman had to run out of the courtroom.
What? The police? Hang on. If you say the police ran out of the courtroom, what do you mean? He didn't wait till the verdict was done?
What happened? The police actually faked the report. They said in their prosecutorial notes that they met me and I was in the car with 2 girls playing music because they knew that this would not hold. So that was what was read in court. So when I stood up to speak, I explained to the judge. The judge was mortified. He said, no, I am lying to him, that there was no policeman in Ghana in uniform that would see what I am narrating to him and take the action that they have taken.
Well, when was this?
This was 2015.
2015. And did you leave it there, or you proceeded on with the legal battle?
No, this was the legal battle. I mean, this was in court. I was in the dock.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, since the verdict rather was made against you, did you leave it there, or you proceeded on with more? You took it further?
I didn't take a claim. I got my car back from the police, got my keys, and left it.
Oh wow, this is shameful, man. I don't know. Let's see. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah.
I could easily have given him something on the road. I refused to give him anything because I wasn't doing anything wrong.
Oh, that's good. But the question is,
what would I be paying you for?
I think in your case it's different because most of these people who bribe the police officers must have one way or the other, feel they are the offended. They offended the law, and so not to be prosecuted or get away with it, they put in money, to space out these crimes that will be meted on them.
I respect the police a lot. There are some very, very fine officers that wear our uniform. There are also some crooks that seek every day they go out. What's the problem? I've had my car even last year kept in a police station overnight because I didn't have my driver's license on me. Because some of them are bullies. And once they cannot get any money from you, they will go the full length. And I don't have a problem with that. I will check in the car, I will go home, I will come the next day with the license and come and pick the car. You will not get an extra 1 cedi from me doing the right thing.
Well done for standing on your stance when it comes to your rights as a citizen. But say you want to say person come be.
Number one is because and but the ordinary civil servant open tama on my kwana bra obetitin and then they just put something down and go away. Sana de na koba. Simple as that.
Okay. So finally, before we go down to the other issues, which this morning I've had from my correspondent from Ghana, that is David, the WhatsApp newspaper editor. He sent me some few stories. This morning, some of the headlines, I'm sure one of them that you think you want to talk about is the government begins social media tax from 1st April. And then you have Uforiata has diverted NHIS levies collected since June. And then fuel shortages loom in Ghana. We have the EC invites parties to IPAC meeting on 16th of March. And then you have Akufo-Addo infects GCB EcoBank with rotten economic performance. And then finally, NPP youth who painted formidable party office in NDC colors to be penalized. Any of them you want to talk about?
I could. I mean, this party office issue, I think, is really unnecessary. If you look at our history, it happens on both sides, where frustrated party members or in the local area have tended to attempt to do things like this. We tend to deal with the problems from the roots, but from the middle, trying to show power and bully people. How are we not asking the question of why the wrong thing was done in the first place? People want to have faults, and maybe faults are being given out in somebody's house instead of the office. People are and giving reasons. Somebody acting the wrong way. So if you're going to solve the issue, then you do it in totality where you address the whole problem. Saying that, I would not say that vandalism is the way to go, because I know it has happened during the NDC era, it has happened during the MPP era. But I always seek to put the blame. If the leaders have not done anything wrong and are carrying the consequence along on the journey, there is no gray area for anyone to be confused to then go to be doing or attempting to take the law into their own hands. Yesterday, I indicated that these things happen. People feel that the right way of solving issues have been tampered with and that they will not get any justice. That is when they seek to take the law into their own hands. When the said executive or leaders are not listening or are not giving them any attention, then they look at what they can do. And in the end, it always ends up being the wrong thing because they do not have the powers to do the right thing. They do not have the powers. Some don't even know that they can go to court. But if you don't believe in the court system, then unfortunately, you will try to do something which end becomes a crime on its own. Now we have a problem. I mean, I know that's not what we're speaking about, but look at the police and the bullion van robbery. The perception out there is very bad. Then you have a ruling like we have in the Supreme Court.
You can talk about how, the general feeling of insecurity, with the police getting involved instead of the other way around. And you could be let down by a police like that. So police near one or share on my son, what to me, ye ketas share and answer more police back, especially who said, is it the bulldog van who said, we now police go on, and then they.
Yes.
That
police
I mean, how safe are we, CC?
But right now, we are meeting between from 1964 with the experience that before they were enlisted into the armed forces, to the police service or any service or BNI. First, Omeko fully on this thing, investigating every ukrum. Baby Queen Wufi, Obi Wanoma, won't me, but now was started training. Otimi training, but true time now, I will training. ultimately the paper back say who committed this offense, ultimately dismiss him from the armed forces, but I know much from the army. Meaning so many people were enlisted our army. I will read training when they are in their unit. Don't know one could prison that. And they were sacked from the armed forces.
Okay, so Mr. Tekwe, this is we've got about 10 minutes ago. You want to have your final say on the topic you were on. I mean, apart from the police example you cited, you're talking about the painting of the party colors and all that. You want to round that up, and then my next program host is here. Your final word, please.
Okay. I'll use this platform to appeal to all the members of the Boko Haram that as one people, let's not be influenced by this elsewhere to take up arms against each other. Kidnapping, I mean, your neighbor's cousin, it's not a sign of bravery. We are so intertwined that it is very unnecessary to go down this route amongst ourselves. Saying that, let's find ways by which we can address our issues without instigating fear and terror in our area. Now to the safety issue of Ghana. I lay the blame fully on the current president, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. At my time of knowing national security and all the forces, and I'll ask this of anybody on the panel, national security officers never used to be visible until this, from 2017, where you see national security officers parading everywhere. The whole idea of having that security set up was gathering intelligence and moving and solving issues in national interest. It has become a fashion show that they are parading on the streets. The wrong people have brought in fast-track training, and all the wrong things that are being done, some get labeled and then thrown back at them. That shows you or indicates the wrong structure. So that blame will go for the Ministry of Interior, for the Minister of National Security, and the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Something has gone wrong that needs to be looked at. Because they are, in the past, if you did not have a problem as a citizen, you will never know who works for the national security. Unless, of course, there's a family member. And even then, they didn't used to disclose it. It took time for you to know that, oh, Mr. A who lives next door works in national security. You will never know because they just go quietly and come back. That is a problem that needs to be looked at. We are using the state forces, or it appears that they are visible and they are bullying citizens and being involved in things. Now, this bullion van robbery was not the only thing. Last year, there were 2 other incidents as well where people were arrested for similar things, and it pointed back to the forces. It is a shame. I pray that our men in uniform, whichever way they were recruited, now they're wearing the uniform, would attempt to follow their allegiance that they've sworn to the Constitution and whatever they're mandated to do and toe the line. You cannot be a thug and be an officer at the same time. Once you wear the uniform, you have to be doing the right thing.
Okay, I've got Joe who feel he want to say one thing. At least you've had almost all the floor this morning because we don't have much callers. As Joe who just want to call in and say something. If you want to stay on the line, you finalize it. Let me get Joe and then get him to talk as well, please. Yeah, go on. You want to land? I don't want to cut you there, but I know you haven't finished. But you want to say something finally, and then I'll pick Joe, please.
Is that to me or to Joe?
Yeah, it was to you because I know you weren't finished when you had not finished when I came in. So if you want to land, that's what I mean. Now, by a minute or two, let me pick Joe and let's wrap up the show.
Okay. Now, I appeal to our Supreme Court judges, all the members of the judiciary. Remember your oath that you take. The oath is to protect, the system of the nation, the citizenry. It is never to please one person. It is our own actions that sometimes yield negative or positive consequences. So let's be guided in these things. There is no merit in doing things that will give you instant gratification, where it will cause turmoil for a populace. We don't live in isolation. And I'll digress to use the most recent or the current electoral commissioner as an example, who walks around with so much protection now. I live very close to where Aparijan lives, and the man goes in and out of his house freely.
All right, sir.
Will be a result of your own action. Let's be guided. Let's live and do the right thing and move together to take the country forward and not be encouraging regressive acts as it has seemed to be done under this present government.
I was very happy when you were talking about the head of the armed forces or the police or the security apparatus, because on a few occasions when Nana-Addo was blamed, he thought he has allocated people in mandatory position who takes care of affairs. If it's finances, so if there's anything wrong with that, the fact that yes, penny in Kokra Kaki P2 or something, Ibu Nankari 4 or something. Anyway, thank you very much. It's been amazing and it's been very insightful as you contributed this morning. Let me pick Joe. Let me see where he's got first. Uncle Joe, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Doc. I'll be.
Adeku.
Yeah, that's nice to hear. Good morning to your listeners. Doc, I don't know if you permit me to start now. Knowing your
You
time.
literally have a minute to finish because I don't know why you stay there till now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think I had to make my way to university, so it's a little bit.
Oh, but at least you were listening.
Thanks for the opportunity. Yeah. One thing is very significant here.
Were you listening from the start, please?
No, not really, because I was in a very tight, I had some lectures early in the morning and all that.
All right, go on.
I just had some break, so I just heard the last speaker. That's what prompted me to call.
All right, go on, not to waste your time.
Yeah, one thing is very significant, especially with this administration, the Nado Baumia administration. Prior to the 2008 election, certain people spoke. Trust and Yahoo Tamaklo and Co. And then
I'm really sorry. I'm just signaled that my time is up. I need to pick the next program. Reserve this for Friday if you want to put it together, and then we can talk about it,
Doctor,
please.
I am only trying to say that Akufo-Addo has wanted not to disappoint those people because they said he was going to be a bad leader, and he has exhibited just that, and that is the most important. He has corrupted all the institutions of Ghana, and that is what these people want us again. It's unfortunate, but I respect your time. So we'll make that on Friday. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. What is it? Sir,
Yeah, bomba say nyame bebo e begina so. Na fiada yetimi aba behia. Nchiranko obia. Obia ndi ne huni.
Amen. Okay, so
ladies and gentlemen,
finally I see your face. Ooh, oh my days, I've been out here looking for you for days. Ooh, I just want to say, my head, you take for my head. I know fit to reset.